A tornado warning is in effect for parts of Seminole County in eastern Florida. We're cutting in over the eastern regional forecast now, as we do want to bring you the latest information we're getting on this tornado warning. You see video there out of Ovidio, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, please let us know at Weather Nation on Twitter. But Seminole County, like I said, under that threat for a tornado possibly moving through. This is a radar indicated threat. We haven't gotten any confirmation from this, and we're starting to see some of these cells merge together a little bit. So we see we've actually updated a little bit of that warning just now, trimming it back a little bit, as it's fairly stationary right now. We aren't seeing any good forward motion, and sometimes when we see this, it can sometimes get congested with other cells. Other thunderstorms in the vicinity can weaken that circulation, which we do see, which is some good news, but could still see a slight bit of that rotation translating into a tornado. So we see there just to the east of the Winter Springs area, this was a few minutes ago where we saw a better area of rotation. So we've got this moving away from the radar site, that moving towards the radar site, and then more recently we've seen that area begin to weaken, but there's still a broad area of rotation right around in this area that we want to keep our eyes on, because it's very flat in Florida, so that allows the friction to be a little bit less than maybe in some of the more complicated terrain areas around the country. So we can see that inflow translate into a cone and possibly a tornado fairly quickly. So taking a look at the radar, we do see many areas here around the Orlando region with a lot of very frequent lightning. Putting on that lightning counter, we see over 150 strikes just within the past 10 minutes or so. So very frequent lightning is another hazard of thunderstorms we always want to take very seriously. Of course, Florida, one of the lightning capitals of the country, where we see so much lightning every year. That is another threat with that. Now, checking in with the National Weather Service, they are saying that they're starting to see, like we were saying, some of the factors of the other storms coming in, congesting that inflow, reducing that risk for the tornado, but they're going to allow that tornado warning to exist until the end of its expiration time, which would be 4:15 p.m. So we still want to keep our eyes on this storm. Taking out towards other areas of the country, though, we do still have some risk for severe weather out into the Charleston area. Just up towards Somerville, we've got this severe thunderstorm warning here, including parts of Moncks Corner, Ridgeville. You're on sort of the backside of this. We could see the potential for 65-mile-per-hour winds and maybe penny-sized hail with this. So Berkeley, South Carolina, that county is under that severe thunderstorm warning right now. Zooming out, we see a lot of areas here across the Carolinas with some scattered thunderstorms. But I also want to take you up to the Midwest, where we're starting to get some more activity in this area. We have a tornado watch out for parts of Indiana, southern Ohio, and far northern Kentucky. So that's the area in yellow you see shaded there. So we could see some of these thunderstorms get started and start rotating. So I want to take you to the Indianapolis radar site as we see some of those thunderstorms getting started, and already starting to see a bit of rotation with a few of these storms. Now, we see with this one right here, again, inflow, outflow, that's that rotation. Here, though, we've got the outflow and the inflow right in front of one another, so that would not be an area we were concerned for a potential tornado. So, of course, we always want to keep you updated on the latest forecasts as well. We want to bring in meteorologist Taban Sharifi now to talk a little bit about some of the flooding risks that we have.
I want to take you back to Viper radars. We've got some ongoing warnings to talk about.
Yeah, Taban, just right after I sent it back to you, we got a tornado warning in Indiana. This is east from Indianapolis. Indianapolis, you're not within this tornado warning, but the Rushville area here in Rush County under a new tornado warning until 4:45 p.m. Eastern Time. I want to take you to the velocities as we see a very tight couplet right in this area, possibly putting down a tornado. So if you are in the Rushville area or places north, we ask you to seek shelter at the lowest room of your home at this time. We're back now on Weather Nation, where we're looking in Cincinnati, Ohio. You are downstream of some severe weather that we're expecting to be moving through this portion of Ohio, Indiana, and northern Kentucky in the hours to come. So we've got a look on Viper radar now with a couple of warnings that are active. A potential severe thunderstorm moving around the Columbus area, and then also a potential tornado around the Rushville area, just to the east there of Indianapolis. So I first want to take you to that tornado warning that we see, again, around Rush County. That's until 4:45 p.m. We'll put that information on the screen for you. We're seeing a potential for a very quick tornado. Now, over the last several scans, we've seen this begin to wrap up, and it's actually spun down a little bit. So I want to show you on velocity what we're looking at. Let's see if storm relative is a little bit cleaner to see with that couplet that wound up earlier. That's definitely a well-defined couplet that we saw. So this was between the Morristown and Rushville area. So you notice you've got those green colors and red colors very near one another. Red means it's going away from the radar site. Green means it's coming towards. And whenever you have that away and towards right next to one another is where we tend to get tornadoes if they are side by side. So pushing this forward a few minutes here. Again, this is back at around 4:02 Eastern Time. We see a couplet form right in this area. So I'm going to put a little corner around that on the backside. So we see as we push this forward, it's actually spun up fairly quickly. And if we take a query here, so we'll investigate some of these pixels, that was 41 miles an hour, and the one next to it was, let's see here, let's get that tool back again, was 56. So that's a very tight couplet. When we say couplet, we mean two pixels that are right next to one another, indicating rotation. So anytime we see rotation like that, it's around 90 to 100 miles per hour, pixel to pixel. That's usually when we see the potential for a tornado. And then, of course, the Weather Service in Indianapolis did issue that tornado warning. Now we don't see as tight of a circulation. Sometimes these are very quick spin-up tornadoes, and sometimes just the process to get that warning out can take a little longer than the minute or two that a tornado might last. Now, we also saw a little bit of rotation on the southern end of this storm as well. Around here, maybe a little bit of broad rotation, but it looks like that significantly has weakened over the last several scans. So we see with this thunderstorm, the thing is, Rushville, you're still going to see some very heavy rain coming through and probably some frequent lightning as well. Let's take a look at that lightning counter here. About 18 or so within this storm, just within the last 10 minutes. So not incredibly high amounts of lightning, but still a potential. Out towards Cincinnati, where we're looking at the potential for some more severe weather today. Not anything severe presently, so that's some good news, but still some strong thunderstorms, possibly some very heavy rain moving into your area. Out towards the southeast from Cincinnati, Adams County, Ohio, into the northern part of Lewis County, Kentucky, a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for you all as well. So this is an area where we've got a tornado watch. I want to put that on really quickly for you. This is the potential for seeing tornadoes in this area. We already have seen that one tornado warning as well. We're going to have to keep an eye out for anything more that might develop. Yeah, thank you, Jabon. We're looking here around, mostly around Indiana, where we have a couple of severe thunderstorms, possibly one producing a tornado, or at least earlier it had some of those signals. So we're looking in towards Rush County, Indiana, around the Rushville area, where we have a tornado warning active at this hour. So this is going to be until 4:45 p.m. Taking a look at the velocities, it looks like this has spun down, but this is in an environment where we could see tornado development very favorable. So we could see any of these thunderstorms around this area begin to rotate. So you want to stay tuned to all of the latest updates right here on Weather Nation. And of course, you can get the latest warning information at the bottom of your screen. Fort Smith, Arkansas, looking a little bit better than earlier this afternoon when we had some severe weather moving through your area, but we've been tracking the potential for some severe weather across not only Arkansas, but also into parts of the Midwest, Indiana, Ohio, and even to parts of Kentucky. We could see some tornadoes possibly today. Now, you see the pink flashing triangle there. that has been allowed to expire. That is a tornado warning that actually was confirmed by SITE or emergency management there. And we can also rewind radar and take a look at that. So let's zoom in here on Rush County. Again, this warning has expired, so that is some good news for the Rushville area. That storm has since pretty much dissipated any chance for it to be producing a tornado. But let's go back on velocity. We were looking at this earlier, and remember how we were saying that we had that couplet, that the couple of pixels of very intense rotation. Let's go back just the last hour here. Some very intense rotation there in East Rush County. If we look at the correlation coefficient, so that's a bunch of big 3-syllable words there, but that basically is looking at the radar beam and the returns we get back. How big are the sizes of those returns? Are they small and all small, or small and big and medium? That usually indicates debris within a possible tornado. And you see we've got this very small little area of a drop. So all of this color here, that's actually all very consistent, very rain, containing the rain in the storm. But this area is likely the debris starting up from that tornado, and we see a pretty intense drop. And notice that's right when we get that tornado warning as well. And we see a very big drop here. So those dark blue colors, that's a very low correlation. So that could be corn stalks, bits of rock, maybe little bits of wood as well from trees getting broken. So that's the confirmation that we need for that tornado that we saw. And again, we did have actual visual confirmation from emergency management in the area that this was a tornado. So fortunately, that has since dissipated. We can take you back to the velocity signature. Again, we had that nice couplet there that eventually has dissipated as it's moved through parts of Rush County. So that's some good news for us, but we're still in an area where we could see more development of tornadoes in this region. So around the Cincinnati area, we'll switch over to the local radar site for you. Just to the south in Independence, Florence, the Highland Heights, you have a severe thunderstorm warning here, moving into Claremont County, Ohio, and Hamilton County, Ohio. Presently, though, it's moving into Campbell County there in northern Kentucky. So some information on that. We're looking at radar indicated 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch diameter hail. But there's also a tag with this storm of tornado possible. So notice with the shape of this storm, you can sometimes get that shape right here, and then you've got the inflow and then the main body of the storm. That sort of hook echo that we say looks sort of like your hand held upside down. That's the rotation of the thunderstorm helping to produce that. So if we look at the velocity, we do see an area of rotation. Switching over some of that, the colors there, we see this area of rotation could potentially produce a tornado. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, check in with the National Weather Service on any more information. But let's bring back in meteorologist Taban Sharifi. We're looking in Dallas and Las Vegas. Very warm temperatures for here.